These videos are designed to get into the minds of some successful business owners. This week we've got Mr. Ed Bruzas. He's 25. He runs a business in Nottingham. He's got an incredible story of how he got into business, but he's also got some great advice for anyone that's just starting out in their career. So enjoy.
All right, Ed, you ready?
Ready, mate.
Okay, cool. So thanks for joining me. So I'm just going to ask you a series of questions. I just want to give people that are watching this, your background, why you're doing what you did, and kind of your journey up until now. So, first question I want to ask you is, it's not really a question, but can you tell everyone what you did before getting into business?
I was at university, so just like most young people, I thought that was the best route to take at that time. I tried the non-university route of going into the working world and seeing if I can progress upwards that way. But I felt, I got into a few industries, realized that it was a lot harder than it first seemed, and there's a little bit more politics and a lot more time than what I initially wanted to give. So I thought the safest bet to do was just to go to university to study quantity surveying, commercial management, and Nottingham.
But why did you choose that course?
I knew there was a really high employability rate. It was a very sought after degree. It was very specific, but I knew that there was a shortage of quantity surveying. The starting salary start between the 25 to 30 mark. And in my university, there was a 100% employability rate within the first 3 months of graduating. That sounded like a pretty good deal to me. I didn't want to go to uni and study something that either I didn't know that I could definitely get a job with, or I didn't actually want to do.
That's interesting, because I think a lot of people, and I'm including myself in this, I definitely didn't look at the employability rate. I just went to uni because all my mates were going to uni and my parents encouraged me to, and it felt like the right move at the right time because it's just kind of the done thing. So would you say you're always quite career focused?
Yeah, I never knew anyone in a really good career. I knew of people, but I was never surrounded by, my dad was a builder, my mum was a cleaner. I knew that I wanted something that I could be proud of. I thought that I could, try and, based off of work ethic, based off of my drive and my ambition, I could go make it in from 18 years old upwards, without having to have a degree. And it just turned out that it's just a lot harder than I thought. And that's when I was like, right, well, if I'm going to uni, I'm only going to go if I know the employability rate is good. Only if I know that, the starting salaries for that role is X amount. If I know that the chances of me getting a job straight after are very high. Otherwise, I wasn't prepared to go.
Okay, and then you came to a bit of a crossroads at uni, didn't you?
Yeah.
What happened?
For my third year, I had a placement, just like most courses, and I found a placement as like a trainee quantity surveyor, and it was a great placement. They offered me a great package with loads of benefits and stuff, and for the uni, I think that was actually probably the best placement that you could get at the time, and I just so happened to manage to get it, and I was quite excited, to be honest. But I was excited in a sense where I was like, this is the starting point of a career potentially. But then I had so much free time at uni where I felt like I wasn't doing anything. So I decided to just start looking for a job. I didn't want to do bar work or retail because I'd done it before, and I didn't want to do it just because of the money. I wanted to actually take something, because I thought that if I learned some skills like up until running to that placement year, then I could make like a really good impression. And then I stumbled across, just a sales and marketing company. My plans changed in a way because I decided to put more of a focus on that rather than, being a quantity surveyor.
What I find fascinating is you're in your second year, you're going to do a placement year, but you then decided to take a year out to learn sales, and then this is why you run a business now. So that takes a massive step, not only in terms of like a self-doubt aspect, like, can I actually do this? Can I actually pull this off? But you must have got some, I think abuse is the wrong word, but some negatives from your home life as well. So how did you deal with that?
Yeah, 100%. I think when you're on track to make your parents happy and do the traditional, I was the first person in my family to go to university, and I was really proud. And I got good grades in my first year, and second year I was doing all right. And I was really happy when I got this placement, because I think, because essentially I was kind of like an only child to my dad, so he just wanted to make sure that I was in a respectable career or whatever. And that's what he always used to say to me. And when I told him that I was actually going to do this full time for a year instead of doing my my quantity surveying placement, it raised more questions than it did answers, because it wasn't anything that he planned or that I had ever spoken to him about. For him, it was like as if I dropped everything and just decided to do something, in the midst of things. And I think for me, because I knew that I could do it, I was probably pretty bad at explaining, what I do in the business. So I tried to avoid the conversations. And I've always been a person where, if I want to do something, I'm just going to do it. I'm not really too fussed what other people think, as long as I'd like to think I'm quite head smart to know when what I'm doing is either wrong, immoral, or, unjustified for some reason. And with this, going into like sales and the marketing industry, I didn't feel any of that. If anything, I felt more confident. I felt like I could progress fast. I felt like I was in a bit more control. I had better mentors. I had things that I didn't think I'd be able to have at this age. And I compared it to going into that placement, and I weighed up the pros and cons of each one, and continuing to do sales and learning from people who are in the position I wanted to be in, running businesses and so on and so forth. It outweighed going to do a placement year who realistically I didn't actually know what I was going to do. For all I know, I could have just maybe making coffees all year. And although to your parents that sounds like a crazy thing, because it's like the risky option, people will always say it's a big risk when they're not doing it, because people focus on all the negatives that can come rather than the positives, even if the positives outweigh the negatives. So yeah, my parents didn't really get it until I think I actually began running a company. But I knew that was going to happen anyways. It was never, I never expected them to just be like, I don't know, some parents are different. My parents are quite set in their ways. They're very risk-free. They'd rather take the safest option, probably because they care about me.
So just one thing you said then, this was definitely a factor for me as well. When I started out in sales, it required me to move away from home and fly the nest. So naturally, my parents weren't that excited about it. Mm-hmm. But I had this inner confidence that the option of it not really working didn't really occur to me. Now, whether I was just naive.
Yeah.
But what do you think gave you that confidence? Because you said that you were confident you could do it. Now, a lot of people aren't like that. So when they start out in sales or when they take on something new, they don't have that inner belief, which is natural. So why do you think that was different for you?
I think because there were so many examples. It's not like I was just stuck in a room with one person telling me that this could be this if you just do this, and it's just me and one person. What happened was I was exposed to a million other people that were either, at different stages within the business or have achieved what I wanted to achieve. And it's not necessarily that I straight away thought I can get to a management position or run a company in a year. But what I did know is that if I kept applying this information, I would continue moving forward in one way or another, whether that's gaining more skills, whether that's, learning something that I didn't think I'd be able to learn at this age, or have that type of experience, because I did it when I started. I didn't think I could do sales because I'd never done it before. Then it just so happened I copied what other people did and put in the level of work ethic that was required, and I found results. So I took that principle of, well, if I can do that and apply that same mentality to everything else that came my way, I saw the value of that. I didn't know I could run a business, but I knew I could keep moving forward because I knew I could keep applying information.